Penguin Audio presents Death Benefit by Robin Cook. Read by George Guidall. Prologue. Krasnoyarsk, Russia, March 14th, 2011, 4:22 p.m. Prek Velassi touched his right forefinger to the scar on his upper lip, where the cleft had been crudely repaired when he was an infant. It was something he did without thinking many times each day, more often when he was under pressure. Right now, standing in a filthy room on the 10th floor of a derelict Soviet-era tower block in the Russian city of Krasnoyarsk, he was getting more nervous by the minute. Prek checked his watch again and looked over at Genty Haidini. Genty was leaning against a fold-out table, periodically yawning as he worked on a fingernail with his pocket-knife. Every time he saw Genty, Prek was slightly taken aback by the straight lines of his lieutenant's beaky nose. From this angle it looked more like the sharp end of a hatchet. Yes, he was sure the Chechens were coming. Genty had just told him for the 10th time. Good people back home in Albania had vouched for this outfit. Even though he could feel it, Prek checked the Makarov pistol stuck in his belt at the small of his back. The Puma bag containing 500,000 euros was on the floor. Genty had brought the guns and money hidden in a truckload of Turkish fruit he'd driven deep into Russia. No wonder he was tired. There was nothing else to do but wait. It was freezing. The temperature had topped out at 20 below, and the sun would be gone in an hour and a half. Outside, the sky was the same dirty color as the buildings and the ground. Prek started pacing around the large room, what must once have been a communal area in the apartment block that sat just outside town. Prek was a meticulous man. He'd read up about Krasnoyarsk. 40 miles or so down the Yenisei River was the town of Zheleznogorsk, better known by its old Soviet name, Krasnoyarsk 26. This was a closed city, home to factories handling God knows what exotic and dangerous materials to make God knows which agents of destruction. Weapons-grade plutonium was produced in 3 nuclear reactors there, the last of which had just recently closed. For years, the Soviets simply dumped the radioactive waste from the nuclear plants straight into the river until they thought better of it and drilled hundreds of wells to pump the deadly sludge underground. Prek knew there was as much radioactivity as 100 Chernobyls humming away in the caverns around here, another reason he'd be happy to see the back of this place. Quietly, 2 men walked in. Wiry and rugged-looking, they wore identical black overcoats. Genty looked up. "Artur? Nikolai?" One of them stepped forward until he was 10 feet from Prek. "I'm Artur," he said, and gestured back to his companion. "That's Nikolai." Prek looked back and across to Genty, who nodded. These were the names he had been given: Artur Zakoyev and Nikolai Dudayev. "This is a lot of money you're asking for," Prek said in Russian. "This stuff isn't easy to get," said Artur. "If it's easy to get, why do you need us? What do you want this for, anyway? You making a big boom somewhere?" Artur grinned. He was referring to the fact that the substance could be used to make triggers for nuclear weapons. Prek winced. He'd seen better teeth on a mule. "What we do with it is our business," said Prek. "How do we even know it's genuine? It needs to be good, not some old shit you had lying around in a warehouse. You have to trust us. That's why you pay us. You have the money?" Prek looked down at the bag and kicked it toward Artur. Prek glanced at Nikolai standing behind his boss and to his right. "That's the 2nd time he's looked at his watch," Prek said to himself. Artur stepped forward and went down on his haunches, his hands in front of him. Everyone knew the drill. They kept their hands down and in plain sight by their sides. Artur unzipped the bag and pulled out a brick of 100 € notes and flicked through it with his thumb. Prek saw Nikolai glance at his watch again. "He's waiting for someone," thought Prek. He looked at Genty, who was watching Artur counting money. "He's waiting for someone, and they're late." "Now you have to trust me," said Prek. He was in a hurry. "The money's all there, so I'll take the merchandise." Artur stood up and held up his hands. Okay. His right arm still aloft, as if he was taking an oath.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?